Hello guys, this is going to be the season 2 episode 2. If you're wondering, for a quick wrap up, a giant Baltic empire formed. They were battling this guy, and we also have two dominant religions, the blue ball and the bananas. And these guys haven't figured out their religion. It's just kind of mess. The main religion is just focusing on the leader, if they're good or not. So yeah. So now to focus on these guys. So these guys will quickly start planning to do a counter-offensive into Qatar. That's how you pronounce it. Because they want to get the Qatar and UAE straight out, so therefore they can control stuff coming from Iran to like parts of India, because they want that control. They'll start pushing into Qatar and also here, because these guys are in shambles because they're preparing for the stuff over here, because it's well known that there could possibly be water instead of Iran. So I'm just going to assume that there is water. So yeah, and they want that sweet water from Iran, like that. So these guys will start pushing, and they make it up to about there. While these guys will quickly use their divisions to start pushing, and up, and up, over here, like that. And then, you know what? I think this shade is kind of nice. So they'll also push eventually up to the UAE, and they're going to plan a naval invasion of northern Iran, because consider the fact that boats at this time like very weak. Like it's a real big struggle to come from this tip of Turkey to Sevastopol, like that. So the max they can do is like from here to Cyprus, which is just enough to reach the southern coast of Iran. So come over here. So basically what they have done is they have completely split the army, and these guys quickly realize this, so they'll swing back the army like this. They'll go swing the army back like that, marching through to push these guys out of Iran. So now it's basically become a stalemate, and after that they'll agree to make peace, and to make sure there's peace, because the blue guys don't want to lose more land, they agree to hand over this to the red guys once again, to the red guys in here. So they've basically lost all their games like that. So yeah, now time to come back. So time to come back over here. The Latvians are angry at the Swedes, and I don't mean, and sorry, I used the wrong word last time, because what I meant by protectorate, I meant liberated more correctly, and they feel especially threatened by Estonia right on their capital. Here's the border a little bit to include more Estonian lines, because they're in Estonia right next to Riga. So yeah, their objective is to reach their capital of Tallinn. And yeah, so these guys will start pushing and pushing like this, and start pushing. As a new government, instead of the old green one, is doing much better. And they also capture these islands because they seem kind of important. They make a small coast in the landing, and Russia and Finland quickly realize this is incredibly scary, because they're worried that either Latvia might swing around to attack Russia, or they might go here to Estonia and invade Helsinki, or Finland. Helsinki is the capital of Finland, by the way. So Russia and Finland unite, so they have a stronger chance against the Latvians. Like that. Continue pushing like this, and then the Russians quickly realize that if they want to win, they need to occupy more land. So they decide to betray their ally of Estonia and push in to these little areas, and they secure these lakes. So they'll push in like this and like that. And eventually, once Latvia reaches the capital of Tallinn, Estonia is no more. So the peace treaty will look something like this. Actually, they will get a little bit less, but in return, they'll get this nice prime agricultural land. So yeah, Russia will get this, and yeah. So these guys will start pushing up. Because they know that the north is kind of more chill, but it's also kind of hot. They also make a landing in northern Cyprus. So yeah, these guys will start going up here until they reach down here, and they will successfully conquer that. But these guys will start pushing in over here. Start pushing in, and they're still rebels. They still haven't set a capital, and they eventually pushing through the Indian desert. They find a luscious, beautiful area for conquering. So they will start a beautiful, luscious area. So because of that, they decide, you know what? This area is kind of chill. I want to like grab it. They set their capital right over here. They don't even know about Sri Lanka yet, but soon they'll know. As migrants slowly come, they will discover parts of here and the northern tip of Sri Lanka. And after a while, people are hungry for land. So the government agrees to give them land in Sri Lanka, and because of this, they decide to join this city. So, as you can see, this city expands to here and here. And not only that, these guys will now get this. So, yeah. And then the red guys quickly realize this. And they realize that most of their troops are now exploring. So they'll do a surprising, like really shocking 4-day march. And they'll discover some land along with that. And they will tell the soldiers to claim it. And guess what? The soldiers holding this line meet up with the new Discovery soldiers helping out. So, because of this, they're able to push and push and push and push and push. Like that. And they eventually meet up with these guys quickly going over here. Now these guys quickly realize, hey, this is a bunch of hot, useless desert. So they agree like, hey, I don't want this desert and I want peace like last time. So I agree to hand you up all this useless desert, but in return, you leave me alone in India. And the red team agrees. So red team is basically the dominant people of southern Pakistan, Iran, Mesopotamia, southern, and Turkey. And now I will refer to this as, you know what? I'll refer to this as the new empire. Ah, I sneezed. So, if you're wondering where this came from, it's very simple. I decided this because I thought the old empire from a D's Pose video sounded kind of cool. So, instead of it being the old empire, it's now the new empire. Yes, the new DLC. Yeah. Then these guys will start sending some troops. Oh wait, that's the wooden background. They'll start sending some troops over to discover the lands. Yeah, that's kind of good. So yeah, they will send troops to expand, and eventually they'll see the Caspian Sea. Yes, the Caspian Sea. Before going through here, and to here, and then finally around here. And then they'll also swing up and discover Baku and the Armenian proportions. So when they eventually meet up, they think that there might be some land in. So they'll swing back around through this land over here, and slowly start chipping away at that area. These guys, however, will eventually discover all I mean all. Oh, that's not what I want. All of Sri Lanka. So as you can see, they discover all of Sri Lanka, and they also discovered the Andaman Islands. So yeah, now time to go back over here. Now these guys will start expanding into the discovered territory around here. But these guys will start expanding through Jutland, aka this peninsula of Denmark. We'll start pushing through here, like that. They'll start pushing through like that, and they'll also push here and then here, like that, and they'll look like this. And finally, they realize that, oh my gosh, I'm no longer in the island, because to them, this is what it used to look like. Wait, wrong tool. Okay, this is the correct one. Okay. Because, sorry, I'm very bad at this. So, this is what it used to look like. Yes, this is what it used to look like for them. To the Latvians, they thought like, hey, these guys look like they're an island. There's some islands, there's an archipelago of islands, more islands, and these guys are also connected. There's a very small isthmus. So they're like that. And then once these guys finally reach over here and connect up with the Latvians, they realize, oh my gosh, this isn't an island. These guys are secretly connected. This isn't an island this whole time. So they're like wondering, is it possible that there might be an island up here? So the Russians, along with the Swedes, will do a massive like cleansing up north of like unknown land. So it will look like this and like this. So it'll look like this. And like, hey, wait, what is this? And he quickly realized that Sweden isn't an island. So Latvia was racist for no reason against the Swedes. Because if you're wondering, in the lore of the first episode, there was a massive disconnect between the Swedes and the Baltic people. Because the Baltic people looked at the Swedes as like, hey, these are islanders, we don't like them. Kind of similar to how white people looked at black people, even though they're still people. They're people, but these guys have different skin color. Therefore, segregation. So yeah, and these guys start accepting more Swedes because they realized that this whole time they were connected. So yeah, and then eventually they'll discover more land up north. No, I want proper bit. So they'll discover more land up north before discovering the whole Scandinavian plateau. Now, some people are not very happy with this, and this includes the natives, which will form their own tribe in the Coca-Cola Peninsula. So yeah, they'll also go around here, and the main domain is around the White Sea. So yeah, and they'll set their capital right on this little peninsula. There. Another one is a Norwegian one up here. I want black, like kind of like blackish yellow. So another one is a Norwegian one across the coast, like this. And all the way to this little peninsula, the spiky peninsula, and they'll eventually bend around, and they'll claim the island of Han Mayen, and also the Faroe Islands, and these random Scottish islands that no one cares about. So yeah, and they will encompass around this whole area like that. So they'll encompass this whole area, and then the last one is going to be I haven't really had a purple one yet. There's going to be this one in Lazaland. If you're wondering what Lazaland is, it's an incredibly barren area of people in northern Finland. So this Lazaland country. So yeah, and if you're wondering where the capitals will be, the capitals will be here, and then these guys' capital will be up here. And you may be wondering what the rest will be given. This part will be given. Wait. This part. No. Okay. So this part will be given to the Swedes, all the way up here, across this whole coast. Yes, across this whole coast, as you can see. And the rest will be given to Lazaland and Norway, as you can see. So this here, 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 this, and finally that. So yeah, and then the rest goes to Lazaland. So yes, these are the natives. I want a better color. Yes. So yeah, the rest will go to Lazaland. So as you can see, yeah. And then eventually, these guys have a new government idea. They're thinking, how can we manage our country full of Swedes, full of Finns, or the people of Lazaland, and full of Coca-Colans. Yes, this is the official name for these, Coca-Colans. And you may be wondering, hey, is that not illegal? No, it's because it's for a comedic reason, and it is the Coca-Cola Peninsula. Coca-Cola. So, yeah. So, these guys were split up into a federation. I will draw the lines among like this. So the first one will be up here and will encompass the regions, these regions, and not only that, the islands in Scotland and the Han Mayen. Anyway, what's Svalbard? What the heck? I was planning to give them Svalbard, but Svalbard and Svalbarding. So yeah, the next one will be up north. It's going to be a autonomous region. It's supposed to represent the people of the Coca-Cola Peninsula. So yeah, this area is to represent the people of the Coca-Cola Peninsula. And the next one is going to be a dark purple one to represent the people of Lazaland. And this one's going to be a kind of grayish blue, in my opinion, and it'll look kind of like this. Not like that. It'll look kind of like this. Yeah, it'll look kind of like that. And finally, the rest will be split up into smaller dominions of Norwegians. So here's one. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. So here's one right here. This is a prime example of one of the Norwegian states. And then there's also going to be a kind of sea bluish one, like that. There you go. And then the rest will be the Norwegian state. And to clarify, I will draw, I'll draw a dark black border of 2 pixels to help people out. that will follow like this and this, here, 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 and then here, 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 and here, here. And I'll just skim this up from the countries respectively. Okay, so yeah, this will go to the Swedish Dominion, or this Swedish lands, or the Swedish lands, prime Swedish territory, in my opinion, even though they're mostly exclaves. Yeah. I have to get rid of all of these little guys right over here. This area is going to, of course, be given to the Purple Ladza lands. I need a better color, bro. There we go. So those will go to the Purple Ladza lands, and these guys and the rest will go to the Coca-Cola Peninsula state. So once again, I will choose this color right over here, and then boom. So yeah, this is the Norwegian Federation of Norwegian states to represent it. So, yep. But no. This is the Federation of Norwegian states. Well, okay, my computer's overheating for some reason. Okay, there we go. It stopped. Okay. Anyway, back to the Mesopotamians. They'll finally discover all of this, and they'll start pushing up north through Georgia, of course, and Armenia. They'll eventually get stopped by the Caucasian Mountains. So, yeah. By the Caucasian Mountains. So, yeah. So the red team will learn about this, and not only that, they'll annex the Cypriots, and down here, and finally they'll discover the Sinai and the fan of Egypt. So yeah, they also, and finally they want to do some big claims, big and bold and bulky ones. They'll first claim this area over here. Next things next, they'll also claim up here. And you may be wondering, why are they doing all these claims? These large, chunky ones? Well, it's because there is an expansionist emperor, and he thinks that more land is better. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. And then the blue guys are like, so they quickly agree to split up this land with the red team. And now they realize that maybe it would have been a better idea just not letting these guys form such a massive empire. But they're sure they'll eventually break up. And that dream is in fact true, as Iranian revolt in southern Iran has sprung up, and the blue guys are starting to support it secretly, though, because they don't want to peeve off like these guys, and it'll start pushing up into here. Now, what else could I add? There's Africa, Australia, and the Americas. I believe for the third place, there was the Andes. So I'll be creating a country there, the Andes. So yeah, and by the way, while I'm coloring this nation, I have a quest for you guys. I wish for you guys to like, subscribe, and comment for me, Alex, because here's the problem. Here's the problem. I need money to get the Filmora watermark off. So if you want a better video quality and more stuff from Filmora, then just like, subscribe, comment, and watch more of my videos. So yeah, the Andes Empire. more accurately, the correct terminology would be the Inca Empire, but me, blah, blah, blah. I do not care. And also, I want to add some in Asia because the main Asian fights is just being dominated by the red team, and I'm trying to weaken them right now, as you can see by the Iranian vote. So the next one is going to be a Japanese one. I want a more pink one. Yeah, this one seems good. So they'll start in Sakhalin, go up to Hokkaido, and they'll scratch all the way to Vladivostok, and go through here and through the Kuril Islands. How do they remember the Kuril Islands? Yet not even Svalbard or the whole gosh darn northern tip of Greenland, and all these non-Russian islands. At least they remembered Hawaii. Okay, so yeah, it will switch all the way to Honshu and Northern Korea. North Korea. Gosh darn it, I hate saying like Southern South Korea or Northern North Korea because it's confusing as heck. Okay, so yeah, these guys will start their very own age of discovery and discover more of Outer Manchuria, and they're like this, and they'll discover all of this shockingly, and they also discover parts of Kamchatka, but they don't want this useless, frigid, garbage, mountainous land. That's why no one lives in Kamchatka Krai, or the Russian state of Kamchatka. They also discover southern South Korea along with Jeju-do, and the rest of Honshu and Kyushu and whatever this island is. And they also discover all these islands to Taiwan. So yeah, the Japanese Empire is going crazy. If you're wondering why, how to describe this? If you get it, you get it. There's the big okay, how do I describe this? So the big circle with the red red stuff coming out, and then in between those white I don't want to go any further, but because of historical reasons. Well, this looks like a Beyblade, but if you get it, you get it. If you want a bigger hint, World War II, one of the 3 people of the anti-Comintern Pact, which was this one, this one, and this one. So yes. Now wait, I forgot about the Incan Empire. Oopsie. So they will discover Ecuador, the Galapagos Islands, and they also discover more of this area and to here, and all across southern Argentina, because southern Argentina has like those nice plains that's easy to pass through. And finally, I want to get into Oceania. So I'm going to choose the most forgotten place on Earth, New Zealand, because no one's going to find out about New Zealand. And yeah, I was thinking of like putting Norway, letting them get Britain, but I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable for that. I will save that for episode 3. Alright, so New Zealand. If you're wondering who's going to be ruling this, it isn't humans, it's Kiwis. And all the Kiwis will be communists for some reason. And in the north, there will be the the Democratic Republic of North New Zealand, and the leader would be Kian, and then in the central one there will be the great leader of Staliwi, and dominating the south there would be a massive empire ruled by Kioibachov. Yes, Kioibachov. So there's Lenwi, Stalwi, and Kioibachov. Yes. If you know the Soviet leaders, Gorbachev, Stalin, and Lenin. Lenin was the first one. Stalin was the one who led them to World War II, and Gorbachev was the last Soviet president. Yes. So yes, the New Zealand guys, and these guys are going to start fighting each other. The first one to make the move is Kioibachov, because they don't like Staliwi's policy of the massive dictatorship. He wants more Titoism, less Marxist-Leninist. So to free, quote unquote, or liberate, according to them, because I want to be a neutral figure in this series, and I don't want to offend any of the Stalin supporters. So they'll start pushing in, and Lenin. Let me try and use the Russian accent. Lenin will push in to try and get the Northern Ireland against Staliwi. But Staliwi is prepared, and he decides to put his navy across this little strait all over to block like that. And he will put the garrisons defending here. They will evacuate and defend over here. So eventually it becomes a stalemate. So Staliwi is now the weakest one, but no one can really fight them, since Kioibachov doesn't really have a proper navy, and Staliwi's navy is better than whatever Leniwi can produce. So yes, this is the Central Democratic New Zealand Socialist Republic. This is the Southern New Zealand Socialist Democrat, the Southern People's Democratic Republic of New Zealand. Wow, it's such a mouthful with all these communist states. Ugh. So yeah, New Zealand's a mess of the Kiwis fighting each other, shooting each other with lasers and stuff, because laser Kiwis. So yes. So yeah. Next things next. Going to paint layer 1. The Iranians would start pushing over and up, and then finally get over here, and then the UAE, and switch over to Oman. Eventually, the red team loses Iran, and they are forced to give up all this supreme land. Technically, it's kind of useless, in my opinion, but now they feel threatened by these guys, so they decide to move their capital from here up, more northern, up to here, since they are kinda scared by the Iranians' threat. So yeah, now the Iranians, unlike those guys, will actually invest to expand into Central Asia. So they will start expanding into Central Asia like this, and then they will discover Turkmenistan and all the and then more parts of Turkmenistan, also parts of Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. So yes, and they will run into, boom, the LOC, and they quickly realize, hey, this land isn't actually jack squat. Oh my god, finally, water. And they realize that, hey, I want to get this land because the LOC exists. I'm wondering, LOC is actually mostly fresh water because all this water comes from these Chinese mountains, which gives them water. From the river. So yeah, so these guys will agree to split it with the blue team, and then the blue team will get all of that, and in return they'll get all of this. So yeah, they'll also get the LOC because this kind of little reward for them is like a thank you for helping against the independence of the red team. What the hell? Alright, so yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I forgot to mention for now, the reason why I put them on religion is because they're not humans. So I'm kind of like differing between them, because it's the same thing with apes. So for now, they'll just stay in the religion category because they're Kiwis. So yeah, they'll just stay in the religion category. And no, I'm not just saying this to purposely hide the fact that I made a massive mistake. Yeah, no. So yeah, they'll get all of this. Yes, all of this, and they'll finally also claim all of Sri Lanka. So yeah, they're forming a massive empire right now, and these guys will also annex southern here and also here. In short term, they'll annex all of their claims over here, except for one claim, which is up here, and they're parts of Vladivostok. So yeah, they're basically the dominant guys of it. And then they'll send an expedition further, and they'll discover Chinese Taipei, also known as Taiwan, and the northern Philippines, and also this random island that no one cares about, and also parts of northern Borneo. So yeah, they'll also go through here, around here, and go over here, and then go through all the way to Taiwan. So yeah, they have these massive discoveries. They also eventually push into Hainan. So yeah, and they'll finally decide to go for all of the Philippines and the tip of Sulawesi and part of this island. So yeah, now the Russians are getting telegraphs through the new road. I'll refer to this as the new rope road. Totally not the Silk Road, the new rope road, as you can see. And the Russians get inspired by this, and they decide, I see all these people that look similar to us, and I want that land. Me, mine, me, ha ha ha. So yeah, they will stake up a claim up here. They'll stake a claim around here, like this, and around over to here, continuing, and then eventually they'll get all of Finland, like this. And they also agree to leave a small exclave in Sweden, just for like defense, because it's easier, because it's the same thing with Ceuta, basically. Same thing with Ceuta and Melina in North Africa, like that. So they'll start pushing in and pushing around here and around here. And the first battle plan is against Lazaland to try and get this thin part and more land. So they will start with the sudden invasion up here, and these guys and the Coca-Colans were like, oh no, nya. I do not want to join this Russian Federation. I want to remain my own. I want to be Karelian, not Russian. So they decide to help the Lazarlands because they know if the Lazarlands names go off, then boom, they're going to be next on the chopping block. But too late already. The Russians go all the way over here and take take the capital like this, boom. And they decide to move the capital quickly near the Swedish border. But Sweden, piece of pie, they'll join too, but not on the side of Russia as they're like own independent. So they will push. So they will push across to here and through here, eventually reaching the Norwegian border. Yes, like that, and boom, Lazarland is starting to collapse. And then the Coca-Colans are like, screw it, I know they want to surrender soon. They quickly annex and take over Lazarland to try and fight off Sweden and Russia. Like that, to go double team. Yeah. Hey, why is someone Swedish? Okay, there we go. So now the Norwegians are maybe on the Swedish is chopping that. And they're like, hey, Sweden, I want to join your alliance like what Russia did. So, I propose that you leave me alone, and in return, I will leave you alone in the Coca-Cola. I go, yeah, sure. Why not? And I forgot to mention, this is not really states, it's more like the Holy Roman Empire. So, soon I'm going to show you some battles that were happening in the meanwhile. So the Russians are starting to push through Lazarland and more of this land, and they successfully encircled this area, and they quickly captured the capital. This isn't such a good idea to leave the capital in the middle of a defenseless peninsula, and consider the fact that the boats ride very well, so they can't really just naval transport, but they can naval transport here. So they start sending troops over here, but since there's such a small border, they don't know about the land over here. They feel unsure, and they just leave it there. But these guys will start pushing along with the Swedes, will start pushing further and further into the north area, that and like that, until these guys will fully collapse, and then these guys will surrender to the Russians, and also the Swedes, of course. So here's going to be So yeah, here's going to be the peace deal. Of course, Sweden will get all of this prime real estate land. I want later. Oh, way too late. I think this is the best color. And then the Russians will get all of this, and also get that. So finally, the Slavs are united in the Uralic areas. I think this is where I'm going to end it.